Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has instructed officials to begin negotiations to secure the release of the hostages held by Hamas and to secure an end to the war in Gaza. His comments come as the Israeli military prepares for a wide-scale assault on Gaza City. Despite the prospect of new negotiations, Netanyahu is expected to give final approval to the Gaza offensive in the coming days.
I have come to approve the plans that the IDF presented to me and the Minister of Defence for taking over Gaza City and defeating Hamas. I greatly appreciate the presence of the reserve soldiers and, of course, the regular army for this vital goal. I have given instructions to begin negotiations on the release of our hostages and an end to the war on terms acceptable to Israel.
Meantime, Israel's military says its troops are already occupying the outskirts of Gaza City. Aid agencies have been told to prepare for a mass evacuation. A senior Palestinian humanitarian official has told DW that the offensive could displace 1 million people.
A column of smoke rises above Gaza City. Despite international condemnation and widespread opposition at home, the Israeli military has begun moving in.
We are not waiting. We have begun preliminary operations and the first stages of the attack on Gaza City. IDF forces are already holding the outskirts.
With Israeli airstrikes exploding across the city, hundreds are fleeing while they still can. Displaced once more, they're searching for whatever shelter they can find. But there are no guarantees. Areas previously designated safe zones have also come under attack. While some are fleeing Gaza City, hundreds of others in the city chose to rally against the new offensive. They're calling for an end to the war, forced displacement, and the hunger gripping the territory.
Today we gather with all the Palestinians of Gaza to send a message to the whole world that we do not want this war. We do not want these massacres. We want to live and to be safe.
We want them to stop the war in Gaza. We don't want to leave. 22 months is enough. Enough death, enough destruction, enough. Look at us, enough.
It's a show of unity and of hope that with enough pressure on both Israel and Hamas, the war might finally come to an end.
I'm joined now by Giorgio Cafiero, CEO of the geopolitical risk consultancy Gulf State Analytics in Washington, D.C. Giorgio, thanks so much for your time. Now, Netanyahu wants negotiations with Hamas while attacking Gaza City to defeat the remnants of Hamas. What's your view of that approach?
Well, I think it's really clear that Netanyahu is probably going to go ahead with this plan to have the Israeli military usurp control of Gaza City. And when he's talking about negotiations that are on Israel's terms and lead to some sort of outcome that is acceptable to the Israeli government, what this means, if we're going to translate it into English, is full capitulation on the part of Hamas and any form of Palestinian resistance in Gaza. That's what's clearly going on. The idea of Israel's government agreeing to some sort of a ceasefire, as Steve Witkoff and some of the Arab interlocutors have been pushing for, in which some Israelis are freed, is some sort of a piecemeal deal that gives us a temporary ceasefire. This is not one that I think we can imagine this current Israeli government agreeing to unless real pressure from the Trump administration comes down on the leadership in Israel. And that's also not something that we can easily imagine right now.
Because there was a ceasefire proposal put forward by Egypt and Qatar that Hamas accepted earlier this week. You're essentially saying that Israel isn't going to go with that and that it wants full capitulation.
Yeah, it's very clear that Netanyahu and those around him are committed to completely disarming Hamas, completely disarming Gaza. They're not interested in some sort of a compromise that leaves Hamas as a military or a political power inside the Gaza Strip.
There's been pressure growing on Netanyahu from abroad. What do you think could possibly happen, given what you've just been saying, could happen over the next weeks and months?
I don't think that this pressure from European countries will make a difference on Israel. I also think what we see on the streets of Tel Aviv, domestic pressure is going to have an impact on Netanyahu's decision-making. I think that Israel is going to go ahead with its decision to take full control, or at least try to take full control of Gaza City. The only factor in the equation that matters here is what the Trump administration does. This could be stopped if the White House puts pressure on Netanyahu's government. I don't think anything else could result in Netanyahu changing course. I don't think that Egypt or Qatar alone will be able to change the picture here, unfortunately. I think if all the Arab countries were to come together in a unified manner and lobby the Trump administration or try to cajole the Trump administration into changing course, that could maybe give us reason to think that the situation on the ground in Gaza would change. But again, it's going to require the Trump administration to put pressure on Israel. Unfortunately, I just do not see that happening.
Thank you so much for your analysis there, Giorgio. That was Giorgio Cafiero of the geopolitical risk consultancy Gulf State Analytics.
Good to be with you.